Welcome to Celebrity Grave Hunting. Today's tip, bring a hat.
Welcome to Celebrity Grave Hunting. I am your host, Ryan. I am so excited that you decided to come along with me on an adventure today. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new here, if you're stale, welcome back. So, we are on our way to Lyndhurst, New Jersey. It's kind of north of Newark, New Jersey, if you're familiar with the layout of the state. Kind of in the Meadowlands, general vicinity, near the turnpike, so it can be windy. Wear a hat, it can get windy. You're in a cemetery, not a lot of trees, wind can get built up, it can get windy. So we are on our way to visit Joey Ramone. If you have the audacity to ask, who is Joey Ramone? Shame on you, just shame. Joey Ramone, sunlight. Joey Ramone is the king of punk rock. Just the king of punk rock. With his band, the Ramones, they defined punk rock music in the 1970s, at least here in the United States. He was born Jeffrey Hyman on May 19th, 1951 in Queens, New York. And we will be looking for Jeffrey Hyman on the tombstone. It does say Joey Ramone down, in the fine print, but it says Jeffrey Hyman. He was raised Jewish and had a typical happy childhood in Queens. Fan of the Beatles, fan of The Who. He idolized Keith Moon and began learning drums at the age 13. He enjoyed the vocal girl groups of the 1960s and oldies produced by Phil Spector. He was a big fan of the Wall of Sound. At age 18, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and obsessive-compulsive disorder. And he spoke of that later in life, kind of added to his charm of being a little quirky. In 1972, he joined the glam punk band Sniper, and he was their drummer. And he continued playing with them for 2 years, up to 1974. At that time, he founded the Ramones, co-founded the Ramones at least, with two high school friends, John Cummings and Doug Colvin. They chose, this is a little bit trivial, they chose the name Ramones as a tribute to Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney used the pseudonym Paul Ramone for a couple projects when he was younger. So they did a bit of a shout out to that, and that is why they are called the Ramones. And they each took a pseudonym. John became Johnny, Doug was already using Dee Dee, and Jeff became Joey. And Joey began originally as the drummer for the Ramones, but soon he was encouraged to switch to vocals, and that thoroughly impressed his friends, and he developed a stage presence that was all his own, yet it was still paying tribute to a lot of his childhood heroes, a lot of his signature cracks and vocal hiccups, you could sort of say were from Buddy Holly, etc., etc. And a lot of what the Ramones did was play simple 3-chord rock and roll, but turned the volume up and just played it faster. The Ramones released their first album in 1976, and they went on to become the major influence, like I said, of punk rock in the United States. With their unique sound and stage presence, with songs like Blitzkrieg Bop, Pinhead, Rock and Roll High School, Sheena is a Punk Rocker, I Want to Be Sedated, to name a very small few. They just cemented a legacy of 2-minute punk rock anthems. They broke up in 1996 at the Lollapalooza Festival with their Adios Amigos tour, and they went their separate ways pursuing, their solo projects. However, Joey was secretly battling lymphoma. Diagnosed in 1995, he kept his condition secret, revealing it on March 19th, 2001, ultimately passing away shortly thereafter at the age of 49 on April 15th, 2001. His funeral was attended by his fellow bandmates and contemporaries Deborah Harry and Christopher Stein from Blondie and Joan Jett. Since his passing, the Ramones have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In November of 2003, a block of East 2nd Street in New York City was officially renamed Joey Ramone Place. It was near where he had an apartment and near the CBGB's nightclub that a lot of people argue is where punk rock was born, thanks to the Ramones. In the years since Joey passed, all the other original members of the Ramones have passed on as well, but their legacy continues strong. I think they do not get enough credit for how many people just picked up a guitar, drums, bass, microphone, and just banged away. A lot of people, I think, were influenced by them just to play music. And I know Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, David Gilmour, those guys, Keith Moon, John Bonham, all the greats, the virtuosos, the Neil Pearts, yeah, they influence people to play, but that is intimidating. A lot more people can look at the Ramones and say, you know what, I can do that. And I think that is just a great legacy that those four guys cemented in, I'd say, 1974, 1976. I mean, we're still talking about the Ramones. In fact, last year, 2002, Brookfield Asset Management acquired majority stake in the music publishing of Joey Ramone's to the tune of $10 million. Now, Joey is buried in New Mount Zion Cemetery, and it has different entrances, but what's also interesting is it shares land with another cemetery. A lot of these older towns would designate land for burials, and then different congregations and stuff would divvy it up. Alright, coming into the cemetery through Orient Way, which is that street there where the FedEx truck is, follow the path directly in. And you will have this nice path. To our left is Christian denomination, to our right is Jewish. So to find Joey Ramone, it's actually quite simple. Just got to walk a little bit down this path. Hopefully the wind will not give us any mic trouble. It is kind of windy up here, so I hope you brought your hat. There'll be these different gates. Joey will be by the last one. I think he is by the 4th gate. That was 1, 2, 3. Got the New York skyline in the distance. I kind of like to think that Joey is still overlooking his kingdom. Okay, you start coming down a hill, and there is no way out. All there is a road that you can sort of turn off on to your right down here, but you'll come to this big gate here. It says New York Social Club. So go through it. We got one path. And come to the second walkway here. We have the Hyman family and Jeff. May 19th, 1951, April 15th, 2001, loving son and brother, aka Joey Ramone, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. Always in our hearts. Legend in life, not forgotten in death. Please like and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on our next adventure.